And that's one of your boundary issues. You are judging yourself and not giving yourself like the total freelance to just see if you can get it right. So, that is the compassion, like holding space and going, let's just see if I get it right. Okay, I'm going to give myself another chance.
Good morning, my friend, and welcome to Friday. It's finally Friday. And today, Sensei says it's going to start off sunny and optimistic, but by sundown, there's a chance of the first breakdown of the Virgo season. But don't worry, I have a spiritual first aid kit for you waiting inside. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your Friday Namaste today. Welcome to Namaste Today, an innovative way to start your day. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. I work each day in the modality of psychic astrology, and I'm on a personal spiritual mission to stand in my heart and help unite the light on earth. Namaste, my friend, and welcome to Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I'm going lower because my voice is having a little bit of a shake-up here in early Virgo. And today, my friend, I do predict it will start off sunny and optimistic. But as the afternoon starts to settle in, the clouds may roll in, and we may have our first major breakdown of the Virgo season. So in today's Megascope, I'm going to give you a spiritual first aid kit to make sure you can make through. But first, let's take a look at your weekend zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Friday, August 26, 2016. Looking ahead at the 3-day moodcast, well, today is going to be sunny, joyful, and creative. But tomorrow, Saturday, is the first breakdown of the season. I'm predicting showers with a chance of storms. And on Sunday, it's still cloudy and it's still likely very irritable. But today, I'm predicting sunny and optimistic. In the morning, at least, there will be a personal emotional thunderstorm watch shortly in the afternoon, depending on where you live in the world. Now, the Great Human Walk has reached step 4 Virgo. That means the ruling channel today is channel 4, I belong. And that means the ruling planet is Uranus. Now, our emotional focus is high-minded but quite tense. The moon is in Act 3 of Gemini and squaring Mercury, so a lot of emotional fears between our mind and reality. And our mental focus is still trying to manifest the future as Mercury begins to slow down before its retrograde at step 28 Virgo and still conjuncting Jupiter. So in the next 24 hours, you may experience a minor Virgo crisis. This is our first crisis of the season. I have a spiritual first aid kit for you in your Megascope. But first, grab yourself some tea for a very compelling tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is historical amnesia. It's a good term, isn't it? I can't say I came up with that term. I got it from Democracy Now! At democracynow.org. That's an independent news outlet, by the way, if you want real news. I actually give them a little money from my PayPal every month just to help them stay on the air and have free news on the air. But aside from that, they actually drop this term a lot, which I find it very interesting, historical amnesia. And they talk about how in our culture at this time, we really have forgotten what were supposed to be lessons of the past. And that seems to be the truth. In fact, looking at the astrology, and that's what I'd like to share with you today, some of Sensei's view of this, and you might share with people who are into astrology, by the way, because I'm going pure astrology today. The astrology absolutely does show that in some ways this is the end of times. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that. I think it means that times as we have always known it, but I think the astrology actually describes it in far more detail than that. It has to do with the outer planets and where they happen to be now. So currently Saturn is in Sagittarius, Uranus is in Aries, Neptune is in Pisces, and Pluto is in Capricorn. Now, the reason why I think this is the end of times is because each one of these placements actually falls into one of the biggest issues we've always had as culture. And these big issues, these four big issues, are all happening at the same time right now. And not only are they happening at the same time, but they're looking like they're going to have a collision date as far as the karma of them. And I'm going to give that collision date, which is why I've said I think the story we were born to live is happening now. Because of this collision, the collision of many of the struggles we have had in consciousness for many, at least for the last 300 years, all coming up and hitting us at the same time. Let me describe specifically. First, it's Saturn in Sagittarius. Now, Saturn in Sagittarius in the late degrees is a crisis of the culture decides to believe something different. So sometimes cultures decide to believe something different, or they stop believing, or they have to be strong about believing. And as it turns out, two Saturn crises are the stock market crisis that happened, of course, Black Tuesday in October 1929, and then, of course, there was another Saturn and Sagittarius crisis, which was Black Monday, which was October 1987. Both of those financial markets dropped, basically, when Saturn was in Sagittarius, one at 17 degrees, one at the higher 26 degrees. So those are both 8s, by the way. 17 and 26 are both 8. 8 is business, so they both fell at the business volatile degrees. The next time Saturn will be at that degree will be this Christmas, okay, right after the last month in last week in November, okay, excuse me, this Thanksgiving basically. So basically the next time, so the very next leap that we're up for as far as financial crisis, as far as all the astrology shows, the next fault zone is the end of November. Now this falls in suit with right after the presidency. And everyone who talks to me about the stock market tells me that it's unusually high and that it seems like it's being propped up. And I've said, most likely it always, and it is because they're waiting to see what the president is going to be the outcome. So, this is another discussion, but I really think people should secure their finances right now in this high point. And that's why you watch my show, is to know these things. You find out why. Now, it's more than that. Uranus is in Aries. Now, the last time Uranus was in Aries was the rise of Hitler. In fact, Uranus in Aries had a personal effect on Hitler. In fact, the minute Uranus went into Taurus was when Hitler officially went berserk and started attacking everyone. The Uranus in Aries was the rise of Hitler, the rise of fascism, the rise of arrogant thinking and ego thinking it could just kill and maim. And so, this Trump phenomenon and Trump's followers and this arrogant kind of wave to not care at all also happened the last time Uranus was in Aries. So we not only have the stock market crash story going on here, we have the Hitler story and the fascism story that our culture should be, historical amnesia, should be remembering. But then there is more, my friend. There is Neptune in Pisces right now. And the last time Neptune was in Pisces was actually the Civil War. And as you know, the Civil War was racism. And as you well know, Black lives do matter. And part of the reason why that's happening right now, I think, in their culture is because we're in a resurgence of that karma. And it's Neptune back in the place it was in the Civil War when we first started to have compassion. Neptune in Pisces, by the way, is the most deepest compassion. So the Civil War actually happened when Spirit was saying we must be more compassionate now. And of course, war, which was horrible, but also the war caused a lot of compassion for the soldiers that died. I mean, all the horrible, unnecessary death, frankly, everywhere. Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune is in Pisces again. Neptune is in Pisces calling for compassion again. And Neptune will reach the point it was in the Civil War in 8 years. Okay? By the way, Uranus will reach the point it was when World War II started in 5 years. So in 5 years, it'll be where World War II started. As you know, Saturn will hit the next Sagittarius point at the end of November. All right? And there's one last one, which is Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn was the birth of our nation, 1776. This was, of course, the Revolutionary War. So Pluto is at the place it was during the Revolutionary War. Uranus is in the place of World War II. Neptune is in the place of the Civil War, and Saturn is ready to have a crash in the stock market. Am I worried? No. I just want to say right now, because I believe, and you agree, we were all born to be at the earth in a defining moment. We all, I think, believe that we want to turn towards the head of the age of Aquarius. I knew human beings wouldn't just all of a sudden get up and start evolving themselves. Something would, I knew would push us towards that. In this case, what I'm seeing is this is every major American, at least karmic issue, coming up at the exact same time. And you could say Armageddon. I say no, Reconstruction. We're going to end up having to reconstruct ourselves, perhaps even a second constitutional or third constitutional convention, or would it be the fourth? I think it's maybe the fourth, third. There's a second major. There's many conventions actually. There's two constitutions, you remember, and we might even move forward in that sense. But I do think that things are building to a head. So I will just close this as, first of all, I'm super positive and believe we are here to help this change. The point where we had an American Revolution, we are 7 years away from. So basically, as all these collide, the first things that begin to happen really is the end of this year with the stock market or our belief structure collapsing. And the belief structure collapsing could just be the people, whoever loses will be half of the country collapsing. So if Hillary people lose, they'll be like, oh my God, everything I believe in is over. If the Trump people lose, they'll be, oh God, everything I believe is over. This is the instability of the crash anyways, at least from a social situation, will be Saturn and Sag. It's us now having to decide and go in a different direction. But really, when things start to get where we all must have things prepared is 2021. That seems to be, which would be if Hillary or Trump were elected now, that would be a year into their second term or the next president's term. But that is when all the planets are really not looking very healthy, and it looks like we are seriously thinking about evolving. All right. Now, I'll say just last, not to be negative, I believe we're all here to make this all happen. I believe we're all here to make this all work. I believe we are the wise generation that will now help resculpt humanity towards what it needs to be in the love and in the light. Another discussion for another time. Sip of tea. I appreciate your patience with this being a longer one, but it's a weekend one, and I thought it was worth saying. I'm now going to do a sip of tea and do your megascope, channeling for you a little for the weekend and for your day today. Okay, so I'd forgotten doing this segment, what this weekend has in store. But in essence, it's perhaps a rude awakening for some. What it is an I belong breakdown, but it's Virgo. So there have probably been a lot of signs that things weren't going to maybe work in some situations, and you're going to see that indeed they're not going to. I think for those who are ahead of their karma and ahead, always searching to expand their perception, this will be a wow, I'm not surprised. For people who were blindly running along and not paying attention, this is a rude awakening for those people, and that might be your friends and family who aren't necessarily out swimming for karma or watching this show. Okay, so be conscientious that it's all about where you belong. So if something breaks down, the question is, did you belong there? Really, your heart belonged there? Or were you just buying time? And if your heart didn't belong there, then it's time to let it go. And the good news is, where you do belong is right around the corner. So move forward. No one goes without. No one. It's just about switching railroad tracks. Now, that said, for your takeaway, I have a spiritual first aid kit. These are the 3 steps to apply to your soul if you feel like you're in crisis. Step 1, what is upsetting you? So it's like a lot of times people are like, oh. So it's like, what exactly is upsetting you? What exactly are you upset about? That is kind of like a crisis way. What are you upset about? What's the matter? Okay. Step 2, are you detached from the outcome? So no matter what's happening, have you reached a state where you can go, well, I'm just going to have to deal with it one way or the other. So if you're freaking out, you have to get yourself to the point where you're like, I'm just going to have to deal with it one way or the other. So detaching from the outcome is how you build out of that crisis. It's not easy. It doesn't happen right away, but that's what you have to do. And then the third, well, where do you belong? Okay, so if you realize, this or this is going to happen, well, where do you belong? Where should it have been? Well, and the universe, again, wants to get you to where you belong. So try not to get too hung up on what's not working, and let's get to, well, what the heck? Let's get to what's working. That's the Spirit's intention there, if you don't know. Now, for those who are watched over by my Sensei service today, I'm going to give you a little lesson on what I call step integrity, the secrets of Step 11. So this is some deeper knowledge on what Step 11 teaches me and what I've learned over the years. And in your eye candy, I'm going to talk about, with Mars at Step 11 Sag, reminding you where you need to be in integrity right now. You got to practice what you preach in this area. I will remind you what that area is at 3 o'clock. For those who are watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. I thank you ahead of time. And you can follow me on Twitter at CWateki. I post quite often. And if you'd like to know more about the bright star that you really are, come on down to SeriousJoy.tv. I have Namaste today. We have a great culture of light. And right now I'm having a sale on my personal readings. I'm going to just keep selling them. So come on now and see what the prices are. Get started at the 15-minute maybe, but certainly participate and be a joiner. Come join us in our joy. All right, friend. Well, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more. Until then, remember, Sensei loves you, and live, love, be.